Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hi, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Where's
So
our
happy to
happy
be
hour?
here.
We need to start having wine.
On Thursday. Oh, it's 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's happy hour
We can
somewhere.
have
We're
our
ahead
wine.
of everybody else. We
Yeah.
definitely could.
We could.
I agree
think
with
we
you
need to
on that.
implement that next week, ladies.
I think we should have some kind of a toast because we're getting closer to the end of the book.
We
I
could
think
have
we
some
can
champagne.
we can start celebrating.
Yeah,
Actually, I
yes.
have a very good bottle in my fridge.
Do you?
I'm not a champagne drinker though.
Oh, I love champagne.
I don't.
I love a good bubbly.
Yeah, maybe a mimosa, but
Uh,
that's what I usually get in first class when I'm flying. I always
Is the
ask
mimosa.
them for
For a
mimosa.
mimosa.
They hook me out.
There you
Good
go.
champagnes.
I don't think they're
oranges.
doing service in airplanes at this point. I don't
Well,
think
they
they have.
probably give you already sealed packaging and you
Maybe.
open it
or
yourself.
you
Maybe.
can, the wine you drink out of the
Yeah.
bottle.
Yeah,
You know, those
Delta.
little
Yeah.
bottles.
Delta's missing me.
I'm sure
they're
they
like,
are.
They're like sending me emails. We have special things for you
For
to
you.
start flying again. It's like, frankly, I don't miss it.
No,
No.
I actually miss it. I
I
can't
do
wait
too.
till I can fly
I
again.
know. I'm ready for.
I miss getting to see new places, and for me, new places and new people, right?
Right.
Because most of the places I'm getting to travel are places I haven't gone before.
Mhm.
Start
So
putting
for
it in your
you-
subconscious mind. That's what we are talking about today,
Yes.
is how you can make a difference in your life by applying the principles that Napoleon Hill talks about in this chapter. This is chapter 12 we are doing today, and it's all about the subconscious mind and how it is the connecting link to the type of life that you really want and you deserve to have.
Happiness and success.
That's what's so nice about this chapter is you can actually create your own life
Yes.
by the thoughts that you put into your mind. That's pretty powerful stuff.
And one of my things I had is where you said everything created begins in the form of a thought impulse.
That's right.
And I
It's
mean,
all, it all
that's
starts
it.
with a thought,
Everything starts with a thought
Yeah.
in life.
whether it's positive or negative. It's
Yeah,
all
and then
in
it
the
brings
thought.
it back to that light, right? If that negative thought creeps in, you knock it
Yeah.
out with the light.
Exactly.
It's all
So-
coming together.
That's
right?
right.
I
It
kept
is.
wondering as we started through this book and we were working through this, my mind kept saying, there's a point. I know there's a point because Dori wouldn't have us do something that didn't have a point to it. So, but I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not there. And then it was like a light bulb moment. Oh, the last couple chapters of those light bulb moments.
Well, and I like how every chapter, like this chapter, kept referring back to previous chapters, and you're like, oh, now I see where that comes into
Right.
play, right? But I think once we've completed the book gathering on this specific book and then sitting down and reading the book from front to end and not breaking it down each week, will make it even come more to
Well-
life, if you will.
Well, this is the kind of book that you can't just read once.
Right.
This
No.
is the kind of book that you have to read over and over and over, and you have to live it. You have to practice its content. It's not a Danielle Steele novel on how to make your man happy. It's a book that's filled with such great content. And I mean, even us going just one chapter a week, that was pretty fast.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, because you can only capture just a little bit at a time with every single thing that you read, because there's so much in it. It's crazy.
Right.
So let me start by,
It's like the Leap Ahead seminar.
it is like the Leap Ahead
Breaking
seminar.
it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, I'm gonna use it as an example on how subconsciously you can either succeed or fail, depending on what actions you take.
So just in case if you're joining us live, I know we missed it in the front, we're talking about Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and we're on chapter 12. So if this is your first time joining us live, welcome, and we're so happy to have you here. And you can go to InSPAration Management and see all the previous chapters where we got to sit down and break each chapter down and make them become reality in life for each of us. So
They're
we're
all
glad
on
and
demand.
happy to have you all here, and we're ready
Yes.
to go.
So in case you don't know who we are,
Yes.
I'm Dori Suka, founder of InSPAration Management. This is Tara Lampkin. She's the general manager and advisor, and as well as Meaghan Ditterman. She's from New Hampshire, joining us temporarily in Florida. We're trying to convince her to move here, so we'll see how successful we become in that. And she's one of our also business advisors. So we're so excited that you are with us today. We are going to give away something special today. I am doing a module next Wednesday on how to implement change within the workplace. So how appropriate for this, because we're talking about change and it's all about the mindset and how you actually implement change within the workplace. So I'm going to give away the module for next week. You can join us live or we'll be able to send you the recording. So the Recipes for Success is a training program that's ideal for your team. This is all team training. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're a manager or a leader, you should not show up. You should still show up because you need to learn the stuff and then share it also with the team. So it's going to be a great little module. So make sure you join us. It's on Wednesday. At what time? 3 p.m.
Yes,
Eastern.
we have so many times going on. I'm like 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, so 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
And if you're just joining us, we're in our new set. And
We
every
are.
time I
Our new
step into
studio.
our new studio, yes, I feel like I'm being moved somewhere to like Hollywood or
We
somewhere,
are
right?
in Hollywood.
So
You're going to be Miss Hollywood. Miss Hollywood.
I'd rather be Miss New York City.
there you go. But we are absolutely loving it for the leap ahead.
Well, all of our clients are loving it.
Constantly getting emails telling us how much they love the new studio and how we're being able to provide the leap ahead virtually to them. They feel like they're still here learning, even though they're learning in different areas. And the portals and everything that we're using for their online training has just been amazing.
Yep.
And we are still in the market for a name for our studio.
We are.
So we put out a pretty big request last week with a pretty big prize attached to that request for people to name the studio.
Yes,
So-
and it comes with a $500 prize
Gift card.
money.
Yeah, for
for
one of our
whoever's name we choose.
virtual seminars, you'll
You're
get
just so generous.
a $500
And-
gift card for that.
And just thinking here, we're probably going for something that doesn't have Dori's name in it. I'm
Dun,
not sure.
dun, dun, Dory's were
So
cool.
before
I
we
like
came
that
live,
one,
we were
right?
talking about maybe Dory's Land or
Dory's World.
They were
Dory's
harassing me.
Oh, we would never.
No.
InSPAration
All
TV.
right.
Let's talk about our
InSPAration.
subconscious
Let's
mind.
talk about the subconscious mind. Maybe we'll come up with a name as we're talking.
We'll feed our subconscious
That's
mind.
right. Yeah.
There you go.
So let's start with that. Let's start with the definition, really, of what exactly is the conscious as well as the subconscious mind. And what's nice about this whole theory or principle that he talks about is that you can actually program your mind to do for the subconscious mind to do whatever it is that you want it to do. And in previous chapters, we talked about this a little bit, but in this chapter, he dives in a little bit more about how we can actually make the subconscious mind actually work for us. And it's really very interesting because if you think of it that way, your head is like a computer and you can really program it however you want to program your computer. And you know what they say, junk in, junk out, right? So if you're thinking of your head as this computer, then it has two parts to it. It has your conscious mind, and then it has your subconscious mind. And what we need to do as human beings is understand first the differences between the two, and then how consciously can we program the unconscious mind to actually do the things that we want it to do. Because the beautiful thing about the subconscious mind is it works 24/7 for you. It never stops. Whether you are awake or whether you are asleep, it's continually working for you. But the sad thing is, other statistics, about only 95% of the people actually take advantage of what you can do really to program your subconscious mind properly. And the reason for that is because they lack belief. They don't believe that you can actually do that. So the first point really I want to make is that you have to start believing in whatever it is that you want to accomplish. When you start believing and start living it, then the transition and the process is a lot easier. So here's how I want you to think of it. The conscious mind is like a policeman, right? It just controls your behavior because the subconscious mind can go wild and crazy with all kinds of ideas. But consciously, which is the conscious mind, allows you to be that policeman, and it's not going to make you do crazy things.
Right.
Though some people do crazy
Yeah.
things, like they go shoot people and this and that. Well, they have no control over their
Right.
conscious mind. But that's really what the conscious mind is meant to do. It's meant to keep you in control and do the right things, right? Like we grew up, mom teaching us, dad teaching us. We are meant to do the right thing.
Well, and I think sometimes before you go to make a bad decision, your subconscious mind is like, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
We're not talking about that. No. So this is consciously. You're doing your decisions consciously. The subconscious mind is wild and crazy. It can do all kinds of things. It can think of all kinds of things. But what you want to do with the conscious mind is control it and make sure that you're doing the things that you value, the things that you believe in, the things that you're driven by. So it is that the policeman. So that's how I want you to think about it. Now, when it comes to the subconscious mind, it's very driven by emotions. That's really what the subconscious mind can do for you. And it's the part that really motivates you too. And I want to use the leap ahead as an example. We were talking about it here a minute ago. So let's say you've signed up for the leap ahead. And in your mind, you have good intentions, right? You're going to come, you blocked your calendar, you're going to come and attend live, and you do it one day, and then you do it another day, and maybe you do it another day. And then all of a sudden, the subconscious mind is going crazy, like, what the heck? What do you mean you want me to sit down for 2 hours and watch a webinar? So the subconscious mind is thinking, this is not normal, and it drives you to give up. That's really what it does. The same thing with the gym. You go to the gym, you work out for a couple of times, 3 times, whatever. You just bought the membership and you're all excited. You have good intentions. But then the subconscious mind, because it's trainable, and whenever you're trying to do something new, it gets confused. It's like, what the heck? I'm not supposed to do this, right?
Or it hurts, like going to the gym.
They don't want to go through the pain.
The pain after it is like, no, I don't want to do that.
So part of the whole principle he talks about is that you can actually train your subconscious mind to shut up and keep going rather than, oh, I don't want to do this, right? Because it's not used to it.
Right.
So what we want to do as individuals, as professionals, is figure out how can we train our subconscious mind to do the things we want it to do. So when you identify your goals, your desires, all the things we've talked about in previous chapters, once you have clarity on that, then consciously, you're going to start training your subconscious mind to do the things that you want to reach. And once you accomplish that, that's when you start
elevating,
soaring.
When I think
That's when you start soaring.
Important for us to understand, like connecting our subconscious mind to riches and success, right? And not just other things in life.
And one of the things that I really liked when I was reading this chapter and then re-listening to it was the talk of put the negative thoughts out of your subconscious. You cannot let the negative thoughts control your subconscious.
And that's all part of the training, right?
Because it derails you.
Exactly. And the more focused you are on training it, and that's what's so great about it. You know, he talks about it being connected to the infinite intelligence, right? So if you think about it this way, your subconscious mind is so smart. It basically runs our whole body. Your hair grows subconsciously. Your skin changes every 30 days or whatever subconsciously. Our nails grow. Everything in life. I mean, our entire body is ran by the subconscious mind. We don't even think about it. No, it's like on autopilot. So how can we take those things that run on autopilot and then train it to do the things that we really want to achieve in life? Because it's possible. It's connected to the infinite intelligence. I mean, that's crazy stuff.
Well, I think
really,
referring it back to visualization, right? We talked about visualizing. You have to get your subconscious mind to visualize those desires that you want in order for it to be able to know what it's supposed to be doing for you.
And you have to be persistent, right? Just continuously be persistent because resistance paralyzes resistance.
That's right. Very good. Yeah. So the thing you're talking about with wealth and money, let's talk a little bit about that. So a lot of people sometimes have that mental block or they have some kind of blockage that's stopping them from going from poverty or barely making it to living okay. And then you have the people that are very wealthy. Well, first let's define wealth. What is wealth? Wealth is not just about money.
Right.
So even if you don't have money now, you are still wealthy. How are you wealthy? You have skills, you have talent, you have experience. Those are all wealth that you possess.
Sure.
So even if you are broke right now, apply what we're talking about, and you'll be able to turn the wealth that you have now, that's not necessarily money, into actual wealth that would mean more money. Again, you decide that action, but we have a lot of people that don't think that way. They think that, I'm happy just, paying my bills. I'm happy just doing this or that. And they just they don't realize the opportunities that they have to actually change.
And money doesn't always mean success, right?
Well,
So-
it does to me.
Well, you can inherit a huge bank account, but you didn't actually accomplish anything to get that, right? You didn't have any personal success. So to me, money to have success doesn't always mean to have a lot of money.
Well, you can have different types of success.
Right.
But money is one of the things that define success. So maybe it's not as important to some people as others, but let's face it, if we're going to get up and go to work every day, if we're going to put gas in our car to drive to work and be at work for 8 hours or however many hours, why would you not want to make the most out of those hours? Why not set your goals high enough and train that subconscious mind of yours to actually do the things that you need to do? And that's really the key, is you have to take the action. I can't just think subconsciously, I can move that mountain and I'm going to move that mountain, right? That's not going to happen. So you have to apply the action that he talks about in this whole book, from the burning desire to thoughts are thing, to being part of the mastermind group, to auto-suggestion, all these principles that are so important. And when you start applying them all and feed it to that subconscious mind and train it well, you're going to get the results that you want. But you can't be stuck in that part where you're not making enough money, you're not as happy as you could be, maybe you don't have the relationships that you want to have. And the more you think about what you want and the more you feed it, remember in one of the chapters, I don't recall exactly, he used the words that you demand from the subconscious mind what you want. That's very strong, right? It's exactly what I want. And when you are demanding, then things will go into that subconscious mind of yours and start working on all the things that it wants you to do to achieve your goals.
It goes back to talking about transmuting, right? So you're once you believe in the subconscious, you have to then transmute those thoughts into your desires. So it all keeps coming back around to desires and thoughts are things.
And then the things that cripple you is sometimes people get stuck. Like you have, as we get older, and that's why people go into therapy, as a matter of fact, right? But as we get older, people start realizing the things, the garbage, the baggage that they bring with them as they get older. And sometimes that baggage is what stops you from reaching the level of success or wealth that you can actually have. So you have to really be careful and watch those habits and watch how you are and the self-talks that you give to yourself. All those things impact the results and the type of life that you really could be having.
We had a coaching call today with somebody, and that's exactly what your message to them was what you think is what you get. So you need to start thinking differently. Thinking positively. Don't let that negative self-talk.
You're contradicting what you're trying to do, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, actually, that's a very good example. And this was a brand new person. She's attending the Leap Ahead now, and she signed up for some coaching calls. And she had a laundry list, like this big, of things that are wrong with her business. Now, of course, when you have a laundry list that big, you're not going to solve them all in half an hour. So, and she kept saying, oh, well, I did this and it didn't work. And I did that and it didn't work. And my team is not selling retail and I can't push them. I got pushback from them on retail and this and that. It's like one excuse after another, after another, after another, or one challenge, I guess, that she had after another, after another. So when you are in that place, there's a lot of work to do. And that's what I'm talking about with the baggage that comes along with what we're trying to accomplish. And it's so key to really let's strip this baggage, get rid of it, and let's start on a new path. And we just gave her one thing to do, the place is shut down. They were in New York, right? They're still not back to normal all the way. And she's like, oh, I need to make money, blah, blah, blah. Well, we made that pivot months ago with our members. As soon as the shutdown happened, we had everybody take their business online. Well, we're in almost August, and she has not made that change yet.
Yeah.
And it's to me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, though. Sometimes you feel stuck. You are just so stuck in the rut that you don't know how to get out. But that's why it's important to have mentors. That's why it's important to have a mastermind group, which, by the way, this is the only chapter in the book
It does not
that
talk
does
about
not
the
talk.
mastermind
Have
group.
you noticed that?
I did notice that.
That's the only chapter in this book that does not talk about a mastermind. But because really your subconscious mind is the biggest mastermind. But that's really, so if that's you, I just described, you're stuck in that rut, then you really need to pivot. You need to adapt. You need to innovate. You need to take your business to different stages so you can benefit from it.
Yeah, she was totally stuck. And, you just gave her a couple of assignments with a due date. And towards the end of it, she was still feeling we could tell she was still being resistant. But then she finally agreed and said, okay, I'll do that. So she had to shift that paradigm in her own mind.
Well, no, and I think her task is going to be keeping your subconscious mind from negatively trying to change what you just accomplished, right?
Yeah.
Because once you're alone and you don't have a Dori or a Meaghan on your shoulder, then it's kind of hard to, if you haven't trained your subconscious mind all the time.
Oh, plus you have so much negativity around. I mean, think about it. Everywhere you go,
turn on the TV.
Whether it's the messaging, the commercials, the this, the that, everybody's so much noise.
Yeah.
And even though you're trying to be positive and you're setting your goals and you know what you want and you're on your way, and all of a sudden, things are just getting thrown at you with negativity and stuff. So you literally have to put yourself in this bubble to basically offset all that negativity, because at the end of the day, you have success or you have failure. And either way, it's all up here. It really
and I
is.
like that, Napoleon Hill talks about don't be discouraged. If you don't get it the first time, don't be discouraged. Have faith.
That's right. You gotta have faith.
You gotta have faith. And I really liked that, and talking about the faith in what we teach and how we make things grow. It makes a huge difference.
Yep. And you have to believe in the process, right? We've been doing the whole Leap Ahead, and we talk about systems and structures and strategies and solutions, which all are equaling to the fifth S is success. But if you don't believe in those systems and structures, they're not going to equal success for you. You have to honestly believe them. When we have so many people when they're live with us, they're like, oh my gosh, this makes sense. I believe that this is really going to work.
Right.
And they get off and they go and do it. And we hear from them, on the next Leap Ahead saying, I've implemented this and it worked. Right. They had that faith that it was going to work, and it did.
Yeah, definitely makes a big difference.
Right.
Yeah. So when you implement something like this, like what we're talking about, then things start coming to you with ease. effortlessly, and it just, all you have to do is just accept it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't really take the time, now remember in chapter 1 or 2, he talked about making the statement, because auto-suggestion plays a big key in training your subconscious mind. So what he talked about in creating your burning desire statement, what is it that you really want? What were you willing to do to achieve that? You're supposed to write it all out, and then you're supposed to actually say it out loud a couple of times a day. Well, the reason he told us to do that in the beginning is because this is really the ultimate goal, is to train your subconscious mind by reading it day in, day out, because repetition is the mother of skill, even for your subconscious mind. And the more you repeat it, the better off you're going to be. So if you have not done your statement yet, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to make it part of training your subconscious mind so you can start achieving the goals that you want to achieve. And it makes a big difference. So if you're with us live and you have some questions, we're talking about the subconscious mind today and how it could really transform your entire life by doing the right thing. So if you have any questions, you have comments, please send them in, because we would love to be able to answer some of your questions.
And I love in the book, he mentions really briefly prayer, right? And if you're religious or not, but he says if you go to pray, but in your subconscious mind, you're like, oh, my prayer is never going to be heard, or it's not going to go anywhere, then you've wasted that time and it was in vain, right? And I think that's the same thing in life, for at least for me. If I'm trying to get somewhere, but my subconscious mind is telling me, oh, it's never going to happen, it's never going to work, then it's never going to happen. And I've wasted all that effort trying to get there when I've already told myself it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I willed it not to happen unsubconsciously.
Well, it's the bad self-talk.
Right.
You can't have a bad negative self-talk. Your self-talk should always be, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, in the workbook that I have, he had a list of things that you can start saying to yourself. Like today, I choose to believe. And then you say whatever it is that you choose to believe. Starting now, I will do this and that. So those are some great phrases, again, as part of the training for your subconscious mind. What I most desire is, and you say what it is. Those are very, very powerful. I enthusiastically will do this or that. I'm grateful for, and whatever it is that you're grateful for. I positively believe that this is going to happen, blank, blank. Focus on positive emotions. You really cannot afford any negativity. That's really the bottom line here, you guys, is that your thoughts, your whole being needs to be focused on where you're trying to go. What is my goal, and what do I need to do to get there? And the more you focus on that, the more likely you are to achieve it. But if you have the little doubt or the blocks that I talked about earlier, so doubt and blocks are your worst nightmares. That's not good. You need to get rid of the blocks. You need to get rid of the negativity, and you need to just keep moving forward with your plan of what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
And he gives us 7 major negative emotions to avoid: fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, and anger.
Yeah.
I mean,
very bad
those
things.
are bad, but they're powerful things that...
Well, the worst one is fear, actually.
Right, and it's number 1 on the list.
Yeah, because it just cripples you. Fear totally cripples you. It's the worst thing, I think, for your whole being, because it just stops you from doing anything, right? Stops you in your track. And the last thing you want to do is be fearful. To me, the only reason I become fearful is what I don't know what I need to do. I haven't done my homework enough to know whether I should go ahead with something or not. So it's really, to me, it's just part of my decision-making process. Rather than being fearful, I just need more information.
Well, and I had a call today actually I had 2 calls today I talked to both of our Priscillas today, just so happens. But I was speaking to one of the Priscillas who is joining us for Leap Ahead. And she called today because she said she was afraid that this wasn't going to be all that it was cracked up to be, all that it was chalked to be. And she's like, it's nowhere near. It's amazing. It's 100 times more than I could have ever hoped for. She has 2 places in Africa and is opening a place in New Jersey.
Nice.
And she said, can I become a member? Can you help me even internationally?
Right.
Absolutely. So her fear was paralyzing her. So she just was calling today to get a little bit
she
more.
needed more information.
More information.
Right.
So she's getting a little bit more information, and she's going to follow up with Sarah, who she's built a really great relationship with, on Monday, to go ahead and roll her into her membership program.
Yeah.
So she just was doing her due diligence, just needed that one more piece of information. Answer this question for me. Tell me how this works. What if I have a question in the middle of the month? Do I have to wait till my coaching call? Gosh, no.
Yeah.
Just give us a call, shoot me an email. We're happy to help.
Yeah.
We're happy to help. And we love when our members call us in the middle of the month or anytime. We love that because it's great to be able to
Especially when they're reporting great things.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We want to hear their success stories and, their story of what's happening and how they're growing and what they're doing by being part of our mastermind program, by being in the Ready to Fly and flying high and making such great goals. Like, what if I accomplish, this is my favorite question, what if I accomplish the things in the first level, that Ready to Fly, in less than a year? I said, well, then we're just going to have that conversation. We're going to roll you right over and we're going to get your book written. We're going to make sure that we get you published.
Yep.
Well, I like how not only does he give you what the negative emotions are to avoid, but he also gives you what the positive are, right? And his first one is desire, which totally overpowers that fear.
Yeah.
Like you have to have that burning desire. It always wraps right back to that desire part. Enthusiasm, romance, and hope. And I mean,
Very strong
they are.
characteristics.
But I love how the first one just wrapped you right back into that you have to have that burning desire, which then will cripple that fear because you have that desire to move forward.
And then the other important thing also from the book, remember we had the chapter on organized planning. Remember that? So now is the time to take that plan, because you can actually feed this plan to your subconscious mind. So I hope you've done it already, right? So you have your burning desire statement, you know what you wanted to do, you have your plan, your organized plan, and now you can take that plan and tell exactly what you want in that plan to your subconscious mind. And then the plan, all of a sudden, you start noticing things just coming your way. You guys, I have to tell you, I practice this all the time. My mind, that's how it works. I have trained my mind to really work like this on a daily basis. And I'm always telling myself, I am just the luckiest person on the planet. Things always come my way. I never have to worry about anything because God will always take care of me. And you have all these positive affirmations that are coming your way. And then you tell it the plan that you want. Like, for example, I have a new plan coming. I haven't even told them yet. But
We're ready.
Hold your breath.
You gotta brace yourself.
we're starting a whole new division for things we want to do.
Oh.
But right now, for example, I'm practicing this now because, with our new studio, we're going to be doing different shows. So I'm having to come up again with exactly what is it that I want out of this? How do I want to show up to the public globally? And what can I really share to make a positive impact on your lives? And that's what I'm working on. And you know what? It's going to happen. You wait and see. We're going to have some great shows. We're going to attract people from all over the world, even wider reach. We are already global, but we're going to have even a wider reach. She just told you one of our from Africa. So we have them in Australia and Japan and everywhere. So what you want is you always want to reinvent yourself, right? One person was asking me a little earlier, years ago, there was only one person competing with me. Now there's 40 people competing with me. How do you differentiate yourself? So if you don't do stuff like I'm doing right now, like we planned this, you guys, in the middle of the shutdown. I envisioned it, right? I'm sitting in my condominium on the beach, envisioning what this studio is going to look like. It all was up here before it became this. And that's what I really want to impress upon you, is to start thinking that way, start innovating, start picturing your life in a different way. My life is about to change like you would not believe. It is definitely going to change. And how do I want it to change? Now, if I don't make a plan, then I'm just going to get thrown like the wind,
Waves.
right? We don't want that. So you have to be determined, and you have to be very clear on what is it that you want. And that's what I'm doing right now. I want to take this, what we just built, in the middle of this madness. And because I knew I'm not going to be traveling anymore. I knew that in my last trip coming back from New York City, sicker than a dog.
Oh, she was so sick.
So I knew from that moment I had to do something different. I couldn't just, I just knew.
I have to say, you talk about, bracing because Dori's going to do something new, right? But I have to tell you, in all my years, like, I've never feared what the new thing is going to be, because I know that you've thought of the entire thing all the way. And if you're going to present it, there is no fear, because you've already, you know what all the answers are and how we're going to do it. So I'm like, almost, but I mean, I don't have fear. I'm just like, okay, I'm on
Go with the flow.
go with
Here
the
we
flow.
go.
But I could only imagine if I was a team member working in a company and they just willy-nilly throwed stuff out all the time and didn't know what the plan was. And then you're constantly feeling like you're cleaning up behind something that was not thought through.
Yes,
And
for sure.
this was thought through. It works. We know how to run
down
it.
to the inches
I know.
of how we put it together.
I mean, literally, we have
Literally.
an inch and a half of the way on
We're
that.
having people doing construction in the middle of the shutdown, measuring things and making sure that everything was going to be there. But now the fun part is creating the shows.
Right.
Yes.
So we can really benefit everybody. And that's what really we're working on right now, is so we can come to you with the information that you need and totally make an impact in your life. And again, that's all planning and then feeding it here. It's because I saw it here that you get to see it here, right?
Well, it goes back to Walt Disney.
Yeah.
On his deathbed, someone said to him, "I'm so sad that you won't be able to see Epcot."
Right.
And he said, "Don't be sad. I'm happy for you because I already saw it."
Yeah.
So he had
The only
envisioned it.
reason you're seeing it is
because I already saw it, right?
Yeah. So it's a very powerful vision. Is a very powerful.
Well, and he put that vision in his
In his team.
subconscious
Yeah, in his
mind.
subconscious, yeah.
Yeah, so he could see it.
Yeah.
But talking about the negative and positive, one thing Hill mentions in the book is positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time.
Mhm.
So you either
Very
have
true.
to go with one or the other.
That's right.
And if it's the negative, you do the light, right? We've all been practicing the light since chapter 1, if I remember.
Yeah.
And then move it out and drop that positive back in there.
Yeah.
But that's really, I think, very key to remember, right? Is you can't be thinking about both at the same.
Mhm.
And if you can remember that personally, then you can always redirect it really quickly.
Yeah. So I have Joan popping in here asking, she says she's been watching our book gatherings on Thursday afternoons and has really enjoyed it, and went on and watched the free webinar about the leap ahead, and is wondering, even though we already started, is it too late to join?
Actually, no, because we're taping everything. So she can always catch up, or she can go back and watch on demand the other modules.
We actually had 3
For
people find us on
Actually,
Google
today, yeah.
Yeah, today alone we have 3 new doctors who are going to be joining us. So they're like, my homework over the weekend is to catch up, because they can get right into the portal, watch what or the Success Library, our Men's Office University, watch, and then Monday ready to go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't think it's ever too late to
Never.
join something to learn, especially for the
Never.
fact that we have the opportunity to record it for them.
Right.
And that's the nice part. And they get it for a year, which we're still debating that conversation. But it is what it is.
Oh,
Dori thought that one through.
Yeah. Dori was in a very giving
Generous
mood.
mood that day.
That's okay.
You're
It's
always
good-
in a very generous
It's good to
mood.
give. It's good to give. You give and you receive.
Yes.
Actually, you know what other example for subconscious mind? I'm sure some of you have experienced this. Like when I was flying every week, I would take crazy flights. They would yell at me all the time, but I would take like a 6 o'clock flight out of Orlando. So that means I have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning in Daytona Beach to get ready, drive to Orlando for an hour, be at the airport an hour before.
And
So
roll off the plane and go directly to the client.
Oh yeah,
Like,
and
there was
go
no
work.
pause.
And then the red eye.
And then the red eye back.
And then
That's
back into
why-
the office the next morning at 8 a.m.
That's very true. Go home, take a shower, and come to work.
I don't do the Dori, man, that I do a lot of things Dori does. Like she got me to drinking red wine and all these things, but that red eye is still, it's hard for me. I cannot roll off
like
that
the red
plane.
eye.
So anyway, I was going somewhere with my story.
Sorry, we were.
Where were you going?
So I was going to where I would go to bed that night and I would tell myself, I need to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
And I would set my alarm. But you know what?
always.
I would wake up like 1 minute before 3 o'clock, before the alarm would ring.
No.
I have
Can't
not
never
woken
do
up to an alarm.
No, that's because you haven't trained your subconscious mind. That tells
Oh.
me a lot right there.
My husband has an alarm and he never wakes up by the alarm.
Yeah.
He's always up.
That's
before it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
that's
like,
because
and then he gets up and goes to the next room and that alarm is going off and I'm like, because I didn't want to wake up at that time. Like my subconscious
but
mind.
it does. It works like crazy.
Mhm.
It does.
Oh yeah, I haven't been awoken by an alarm for myself in years.
Mm.
I've always just.
So
Okay,
see,
you
you're
gotta be up-
already on your way.
You gotta
to
be up at
training your
4 a.m.,
So
so
that
you're
means
up
my
at 4
husband
a.m.
has trained his subconscious mind to wake up at 5 o'clock. He wakes up at 5 a.m. every day
Yep.
with no alarm, no nothing.
Yep. And depending on what was going on in life, that time changes.
And here me, I'm like lucky to get up by 7 to be at work by 8. I'm gonna have to work on my subconscious mind.
So some people ask me all the time, like, how do you control that? How do you control not having negativity? Because as we mentioned, there's negativity all around us. How do you stop that from happening? The best thing I can give you as an answer for that is if you keep your goal in front of you, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Then you start getting these negativities. All you want to do is just push them to the side and just stay focused on the goal.
Mhm.
And the more focused you are on your goal, the more likely you are to actually achieve it. So I was talking to one of my team members this week actually, and she was about to get on a phone call. And she was saying, oh, I'm not looking forward to this phone call. And I'm like, huh? No, of course you are looking forward to that phone call. You're going to make their life so much better. You are. You see, again, thoughts are things. What we think is what we believe is what actually comes our way. So if you catch yourself in these thoughts, that's the time to use the light trick I showed you on the first, like she was just mentioning. Whenever there's a negative thought, you need to snap your finger and say light. And when you do that, it's going to stop you in your track and you're going to redirect your thoughts consciously and subconsciously to go back to the goal. Why we need to do this, why should we be excited about this, and actually get it done. So don't watch what you tell yourself. I'm sure my team member had good intentions, right? But it's just part of the human nature.
Yes.
It's things just, oh, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. I really don't want to do this. But it's only going to affect you. And the more aware you are of your thoughts, the better off you're going to be. The
Yeah, I have to work on that.
the more positive thoughts you have, the better results you're going to have. The more negative results you have, the worse the results are. So if you envision what your month is going to be like from the beginning, and I'm trying to get these two ladies to do this like in advance, right? And it's a process. Everybody, when you're learning new habits, it's a process. It takes time.
Well, I mean, for you, you're so easily.
Well, that's
But you've
because,
taken years to train yourself to do this,
I've
right?
done this for a long time.
I mean, me, I can't even honestly barely think about what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. And it's already, almost 5 o'clock and I have no idea. Like, I have never trained myself to think that far in advance. And like, my sister plans her meals out for an entire month. And I'm like, and she
I
has
like your
it
sister.
cooked. I mean, it's cooked. It's all prepped. She
Wow.
spends an entire day prepping for the entire month. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't even know where to even put on a grocery list, right?
Yeah.
I'm not like that. or I haven't trained myself to be like that. So it's definitely a task to change, right?
Well, it's a way of life.
But I think it's also
Really.
back to repetition, right? I can want to do it, and I've tried. I mean, I've tried to meal prep, but if I'm not repetitive on doing it,
Well, you have to develop habits.
Right.
That's really what it is you're training your mind, you're training yourself for habits, and that's really the important thing. So the one thing, one statement that I have here is change your brain, change your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% true.
That's really, it's all again up here, you guys. It really is. It's all up in our head. So you decide the kind of life you want to live, and then make the plan to live it.
I believe the old saying goes, speak it into existence.
There you go. I like it. Speak it into existence.
Sure.
Yeah. So you have brain power, that you can have happiness. You need willpower. You need to stay focused on what it is that you want. You have to stay motivated. You have to have mental toughness, and then all the healing that you need to really live your life the way you deserve to live it.
Yeah, and I think that mental toughness, I think our mastermind members have shown their mental toughness when they dug in throughout the coronavirus, when we started, and they were on with us twice a day sometimes, really learning and putting their business online, staying profitable, staying ahead of the curve. That mental toughness made such a big impact. And the relationships that our mastermind members built with one another during that time just strengthened.
No, well, Linda just emailed me today. She said, I like the platform of the Leap Ahead, but I miss seeing everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I get it. And it is nice to be, again, part of a group and having everybody support each other and help each other. And you really need to think yourself into success. That's really the bottom line. You decide. You want to be successful, or do you want to be a failure? You want to be successful, then you need to do all the things that we've been talking about. You're happy being a failure, God bless you. See you later.
Have a nice day.
But it's really up to you.
Yeah.
And who you surround yourself with is the other key factor, by the way. So if you want to be wealthy, you study wealth, and then you hang around wealthy people. If you want to be more productive, you be around people who are more productive. If you want to be lazy and be a couch potato, then look at your friends. They're probably lazy and they're couch potatoes too. So who you surround yourself with is who you become. So be careful who you select as your friends, your colleagues. Are they motivated to do great things, or are they the kind of people that are happy being mediocre?
Who are you inviting to supper?
Thank you. Who are you inviting to supper? I'm not inviting anybody now. I'm not socializing. It's terrible. I can't wait to start inviting people for dinner
We
again.
can have like virtual suppers.
Maybe I can have my table spread out.
There you go.
We can have 6
6
feet
feet
apart
away.
dinner.
There we go. I had Jamie hopping in here, and she's asking, she attended a Leap Ahead in person a couple of years back. Is there merit to doing the virtual Leap Ahead after having already attended Leap Ahead?
Oh my God, you should see what I've done.
It's totally different.
I basically revamped the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get myself to do the same one we did in person. So what have I been doing on my weekends? Redoing the entire program.
Yeah, I actually had a coach in one of my coaching calls today. I was like, hey, I haven't seen you on the new virtual event. She's like, well, I attended it in February. And I said, but it's all new. You know, Dori, it's all new. You need to join us.
Yeah. So, definitely, it's always good to reinvent. You have to, even as a spa owner, a medi spa owner, you have to always reinvent, introduce new treatments, do something different, introduce new rituals, whether you're doing it online or whether you're doing it in person. Either way, you gotta do the things that you need to do to separate yourself from everybody
And
else.
making sure you're staying in front of your audience, right? So that communication, the newsletters, the staying engaged on social media, all of those things, they need to be making sure that they're.
So I have a question. Leslie is here, and she's asking, she's opening up a new med spa, brand new, ready to go. How can she apply this to her everyday life on getting those? Because right now, like you said, whoever you're surrounding yourself with, right? If it's your life partner needs to be on board with you. If they're negative, then you're not going to be able to have a successful med spa because someone else is always negative feeding you.
Yeah.
So what would you say to her that she should be doing right now in order to feed this new vision of hers?
Yeah, she needs clarity. She needs clarity and a plan. If you have clarity and a plan, then you feed it to your mind, and then nothing's gonna stop you. You're gonna keep going forward until you achieve opening a place. So opening right now, and I have to say, so many brave people actually that we're working with right now that are in the middle of either getting started or in the middle of actually opening, and so many, really.
Yeah.
And my hat is off to them because they're very courageous. They're being lions and lioness, right? Nothing is stopping them. And to me, again, it's all about that precise plan, making sure you know exactly what you're trying to do. You can't have any negative influences whatsoever. And definitely get someone to guide you through this process, because if you're going to do it by yourself, you're going to end up making mistakes. It's going to take you longer to achieve what you want to achieve. So by having a company like ours help you get started and get moving in the right direction, you're definitely going to be on the right track. And you can implement it every day because you'll have things that you need to do every single day to get to the finish line. Because if you don't plan it and put a timeline on it, then again, it's not going to happen.
And I
Stop
think,
visualizing.
right. And I think the difference is we actually have accountable tasks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus Leslie, if she just has it all in her head.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to change your plan when it's in your head because you don't have it written down in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, as we've joked about it almost on every book gathering, but we always have a spiral notebook, right? And I can't ever tell a time that I've ever seen Dori, been with Dori, and she not have something to write on, right? So when you think about something, you don't just say, oh, I'll remember it later. Like you write it down because you're like, there's a reason why my brain just brought that to me.
So you don't know actually what I do all the way. So you guys see me with the spiral notebooks, right?
Yeah.
So what I do at home, like every so often, I take all my, like I just did this last weekend. I must have had about 10 spiral notebooks.
I can only imagine.
That I had from like taking notes while I was reading or listening, or, you know, it could be a to-do list. So my spiral notebooks are not very organized. They're just whatever I'm doing at that time, I'm brain dumping into the spiral notebook. So that's good, but it's not good enough. So what you really should be doing is after you dump everything into your spiral notebooks, then I have journals. So what I do periodically, maybe about once a month, I don't do it like all the time, but I would take all my spiral notebooks, I would go through them. I would pick out the most important things that I want to remember, then I put them in a journal. And these journals are nicely written and organized. And what you leave behind, you guys, think about it. I mean, leaving your legacy of all your thoughts and journals and business ideas and things that you've been working on, and like this is in one of my journals.
Wow.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that's really how you should use your spiral notebooks, because I'm always reading and learning and doing new things, and that's where they end up. But then you have to transfer them.
Yeah, well, I was talking with one of our brand new team members earlier this week and kind of giving her a rundown of, you know, what we're doing and how the trainings go and what my role in the company is. And she was writing on the back cover of a notebook. I'm like, you're already through a notebook. Good girl. Hold on. Let me get you a new one. So I ran across the office and got her a new one. But we all do exactly that. Write those things down. And
absolutely.
On my night table, it's the 4 a.m. conversations I have with myself.
Right. You got to do that. So, all right. Well, we are almost on time.
Wow.
Next chapter, you guys, is the brain, the broadcasting and receiving station. So it's going to be kind of a continuation of what we just started today with the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. So that's what we'll be talking about next week. So let's give you a little homework of things you do, right? So what I would like you to do is become aware of your thoughts, become aware of that subconscious mind of yours, and then start feeding it the things that you want it to apply. So start training your subconscious mind. And start with little baby steps. It could be just as simple as the example I used, where you want to commit yourself to that personal self-education, attending the webinar, doing your homework, getting things done. Start there. Just small little baby steps. Or even going to the gym or working out or doing this. By the way, Juliana, our newest team member, is going to be doing some exercises for the ladies. We're all going to get in shape.
Oh, Lord.
We're going to have bouteilles.
Oh, I can't wait. Gotta love it. I'm telling you, Dori thought about everything for the studio.
I know. We're going to be filming it. We're going to be broadcasting.
Don't scare her away.
Just kidding.
But I mean,
Maybe some shots.
like it is important, right? So for me now, if I just make a commitment and tell my subconscious mind, you're gonna wake up at,
Yeah.
7:05 every
And
morning
how you
instead of
gonna
7:15.
And how are you going to feel when
Right.
you wake up?
See, and I think that's some of the problem is like I get up and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to go back to bed.
Well, but that's the
and I
wrong,
just
that's
keep
the
telling
wrong
myself,
language.
go back to bed.
But that's the wrong language.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That will be part of my homework. is to
You're
tell
like
myself.
you're like one of these people that's getting out of bed and your left leg is saying, "Do I have to be the first one on the floor?" and the right leg is following.
You're like, yes, you have to.
You have to
You know,
You need to tell yourself the night before that I'm going to wake up at whatever time you want to wake up. Considering she's supposed to be here at 7, by the way, because we changed our hours.
7.
So just
Wait a minute.
kidding. 8. All right. So
Seven.
you need to tell
West Coast
yourself.
time. No, I'm
You
kidding.
need to tell yourself the night before that I'm going to wake up at whatever time and I'm going to feel energized, positive, and ready to go. That's what you need to be telling yourself.
And I'm gonna tell my husband I
And
have
we
a
need
cup
to-
of coffee on the nightstand.
Well, whatever. So, and you need, at least you have a husband to ask him. I have to get up and do my own coffee.
Although I do have to tell you, I've stayed at Chateau Dori. Is that what we call it? I've stayed at Chateau Dori, and I get coffee on the nightstand delivered to bed. It is the best coffee you will ever have in your life.
I make cappuccinos.
She makes cappuccinos, and
with hearts on the front.
sometimes I just come up with an excuse to have to stay at Dori's. Like, oh, I'm sorry, my car broke down or something silly. So I get that best coffee in bed. I mean, it's better than any place.
Oh, you're so funny.
But no, I do agree with
All
you.
right,
Like
that's
changing
enough
my brain.
information.
Yeah.
But I do agree, like changing my brain and telling myself these
So
positive
we have
things.
3 minutes. Who are we going to give this to?
Wow.
We're going to give away that module I spoke about. So welcoming change in the workplace. By the way, our newsletter will be out on the 1st, which I believe is Saturday.
Saturday.
Right?
Yes,
It's
Saturday.
already scheduled to go out, so you've got to read it this
Without
weekend.
fail.
There's a great article in there about how to design a successful life. So it's a great follow through for what we were just talking about. So who am I going to give this to?
I mean, I like the lady that you shared earlier where she was asking that question.
Joan, joining?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I mean, she already has the team. Leslie had a great question, but she doesn't have that team
Team
yet.
yet.
And because it's all about team in the
Yes.
workplace, I think Julie
Sounds good.
Joan.
Joan
Joan.
is the great person to be the
All
winner
right.
for that.
All right, so
Let's do
Joan,
it.
send us a quick email, give us your contact information. If you want to send that over to Tara at InSPArationManagement.com, we'd really appreciate it.
And those of you who are joining us weekly for this, share it.
Mhm.
This is not specific to just med spas or spas, so anybody really can benefit from the Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, I
So
agree.
share it, and again, leave us comments, sign up for the YouTube channel, and make sure you read our newsletter this weekend. It's InSPAration Moments. It'll be in your inbox, and check it out.
And if you haven't yet subscribed, you can subscribe from our homepage at InSPArationManagement.com, and you can subscribe to receive the inspiration moments.
Woohoo!
Perfect.
All right, you guys, well, stay healthy, stay safe, and until next time,
Stay inspired.
Bye.
Bye.